Hey guys, welcome to my new video in the acid playlist. Today we would be discussing on durability. In my very first video, I have deep dived into atomicity and how write happens into the database. Then we discussed on consistency, again in depth, isolation, multiple different read-write issues, isolation levels and how exactly it works internally. Now, finally, it is last but not the least, we would be discussing on the durability. Let's start. So what does durability means? Once the data is written to the disk, it is permanent. Plain simple only definition, nothing too complex. It means like, okay, if I am giving commit success message to the user, means the data is persisted into the database. Whatever is going wrong, my data present into my database unless and until my disk is crashed, my data is non-recoverable at all, and all the replications of my database of my particular data is vanished. That is the only use case which is an extreme use case where I can say like, hey, my data is now lost. In 99.99% of the cases, my data is durable. Just don't think like, okay, my data is present into my disk, and what if my disk crashes? Production environment, it doesn't work like that. Your data is replicated to multiple, like there is master slips architecture. The data is present into multiple different replicas in zones, in the regions. So the data is always recoverable. So even if your one disk is crashing, your data is recoverable, it is available. But that is not the topic that I want to explain. The important thing is from an acid perspective, durability means how we are achieving the durability. Once we are giving a commit success message to the user, it means like the data is preserved, persisted, and whenever after even if database crash happens, after 1 hour is coming back, he would be able to access his data. Let's discuss how that is achieved. You watch my very first video, at least some part of it, where you need to understand how exactly the write happens into the database. This is just a deep and further extension to that. Okay, the transaction has started. Then update the data record in memory. As I explained in my very first video, whenever a transition happens, before I want to update something, I need to pull that data into my in memory, and then I update. I means the database engine. It updates the record into in memory. After that, insert that entry into the val file. So assume, let's check this example. This is my begin transaction and this is my, let's say, commit. And here I am saying like, hey, I want to update val plus 100. Let's check this thing I want to do, where account ID is equal to 123. So first in memory, the data is pulled from the disk. Hey, give me for account ID 123, give me the val, and in memory the balance is saved 500. Now the update happens and in memory it becomes 600. Now a val file is created in memory which is having this instruction lsn1 and 600. Now fsync log is flushed to the disk. So this 600 is now flushed to the disk. Now the commit instructions happen and lsn2 is having a commit instruction and it is again flushed onto the disk. Commit message is sent to the user, and when commit is sent to the user means my data is durable. That's it. We'll go further, but this is the place. Once my val file is present onto the disk, means my data is now durable, and I am sending commit message to the user like, hey, your commit has been successful, your transaction has been saved successfully. Now asynchronously the database engine, it reads my val file and lsn is compared. So lsn is here 2 and my old value, let's see, it was having lsn minus 1. So lsn is compared and commit for transaction is looked for. If these both the criteria are successful, the data is written onto the disk. So this is how durability is achieved. Again, this you might be finding it similar to what I have explained in the atomicity, but the reason why I have explained all these similar thing in the atomicity is because for you to understand how exactly the things works into the database. If you wouldn't have understood that, you wouldn't have understood how atomicity, consistency, isolation works internally. That's the reason I have explained that. This might be a repetitive video for you if people who have watched that atomicity video in depth. This is how the durability is achieved. So if you feel something valuable I have added, then please do consider liking this particular video, commenting something if you feel something wrong I have said, or if you want to correct me or you want to give me some suggestions or appreciations, I would surely respond to that comments. Thanks for watching this video. Bye.